Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry I haven't posted in a while. I haven't really gotten too much content made. I have been trying to, but haven't had the best of luck. So, that is why I am doing a deck profile, and I think I'm gonna start posting videos at least once a week, just to make it so it's easier to get content. But at the same time, it still might not be that easy. A lot of people don't seem to really want deck profiles made of their decks or really anything like that. So it's like, I understand that. But at the same time, it is also hard to get Yu-Gi-Oh! Uh, it's hard to get Yu-Gi-Oh! Content as well. So, yeah. But without further ado, that is why we are getting into this video. I am going to be showing you guys a very fun deck that I was shown before, and last Friday I got 3 wins and only 1 loss with it. I have since then updated it to hopefully help with certain decks, and we'll be testing it out this Saturday. So yeah. Anywho, let's get on into it. Before we go too far though, make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you are liking and subscribing, basically. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to have our 3 Necro Faces. This is a Banish deck, people, just a heads up. So yeah, 3 Necro Faces. You got them just so they help banish more stuff. But you don't want to just get them banished right away. You will see why later in the video. But basically, if you start out with this in your hand, you'll want to find a way to get rid of it. Like place it face down in defense mode as like a body or something. And get it sent to the graveyard and not get banished. So yeah. Next, we have our Battle Stoppers. Smoke Mosquitoes and Battle Faders. And also 3 Swift Scarecrows. I forgot to put them back in the deck. But yeah, these will be our battle stoppers. If your opponent is attacking you directly, use these to end the battle phase. This one will only make you take half the damage from the monster attacking and then end the battle phase. This one will summon itself and end the battle phase. This one you discard and it'll end the battle phase. Because most of the time, people don't have anything to, stop monster effects in hand. So Swift Scarecrow is good for that, to, discard it and just end the battle phase. And then your opponent really, most of the time, can't do anything about it. They can do some stuff to Battle Fader because it's getting summoned, but it's still activating in hand. And same thing with Smoke Mosquito. But Swift Scarecrow, I have had, almost nobody be able to get over it. Next, we got 3 Astral Karibos. The reason we have 3 Astral Karibos is for your level 8 targets. You will want to be using these, the Kaijus mainly, level 8 Kaijus, because Astral Karibo needs to become a level 8. I will explain why later. But yeah, there we've got all the Kaijus and Gizmek Orochis. You don't want to run 3 Gizmek Orochis because they do banish from your deck, and a lot of cards are usually needing from the deck. We got 3 Eater of Millions. Eater of Millions, we have that as a just in case for Gizmek Orochis. If you have Eater of Millions in your hand and Gizmek Orochi already banished 8 cards, you can summon him out too to banish 5 more cards from your extra deck per se. Or from, I believe from your hand deck or extra deck. Yeah, banishing 5 or more cards from your hand, field, and or extra deck face down. And this card gains attack for however many face down banished cards there are. I will explain why that will be really good in a second too. Anywho, Grenmaja de Iza. These cards are good with the banished deck because after you use a certain card in this banished deck, it will make its attack go soaring through the roof. I will explain what card it is here in a second as well, too. But yeah, next we've got Dimension Shifters. We have that to help banish even more stuff. It's good to use against a lot of decks because a lot of decks needs their stuff in the graveyard. and they can't do nothing about it if they're banished. And then we run 3 Kashtira Fenrirs. The Fenrirs also help with the Eater of Millions, because when you want to just attack and such, this card will make your opponent, or if your opponent activates a monster effect, except during the damage step, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls and banish it face down. So you can do that as well, too, to also help Eater of Millions. Next is the Inferno Tempests. This card is the main card you will want in the deck if you are wanting to go down the Banish route instead of the OTK route. The Inferno Tempest, what it does is, usually you want to have the Kaiju in your hand, or even interrupt a Kaiju Slumber, and then normal summon one of those like Battle Stoppers, or something that would have 0 attack. And then you would attack into the Kaiju, so that way you take 3,000 or more damage. And then this card here, this card will banish all monsters from your hand, not from your hand, don't mind me. This card will banish. This card you will definitely want in your hand, because you don't want Necroface in your hand due to this card. You'll want it in the graveyard. But this card will banish every card in your deck and graveyard, as well as your opponent's deck and graveyard. So then all cards get banished. And then Necroface's effects will go off, banishing even more cards from both decks. And the great thing about that is usually you can deck them out and they can't draw. So yeah. Next we have 1 pot of Acquisitiveness. It's honestly recommended to run 3. I don't have 3 though, but I would recommend running 3, because then after Inferno Tempest goes off, you're going to probably be left with at least 1 or 2 of these in your deck. Because if your opponent has more cards, then what you can do is use this, target 3 of your banished monsters, put them back into your deck, and then draw 1 card. Acquisitiveness, what I would usually do is target 3 of the Battle Stoppers, and at least, well, 2 of the Battle Stoppers, and at least a Grand Maju Daiza. Because when you draw into the Grand Maju, then it's basically over for them. They will not be able to get over it. It will be a major body against them, and all that. And then, even if they, for instance, even if they skill drain against the Grand Maju Daiza, Grand Maju's effect is a continuous effect, meaning it still keeps the attack. Because skill drain only negates activated effects. Grand Maju's effect is not an activation. And then we've got our draw power. 3 Allure of Darknesses and 3 Pot of Prosperities. That's our draw power, basically. So we use that for the draw power to help with the deck and getting cards that we need. But we do a situation of either or. Next, we have 2-dimensional fissures. The reason I added these into the deck was so I got more banish power against decks like Yubel. Because that is the deck that I lost to last Friday. That was my only loss, was to a Yubel deck. And that was because on the second game, I couldn't remember what card to target for Prohibition, and I went with Yubel. That sucked a lot. It really did. So, what I wanted to go for was Nightmare Pain, but I couldn't remember that because that card is the main issue with me when I face a Yubel deck. But me doing the D-Shifter did a lot of problems for him. And so I was like, you know what? Then we gotta put these in, especially for Yubel decks. So that way if I don't draw the D-Shifter, but I do draw into that, then on my turn, I can get that activated. And then, Yubel decks, most of the time, will be screwed to where they have to summon a card like SP Little Knight. But, I've got cards in here to kind of stop SP Little Knight, so yeah. And then, 3 Interrupted Kaiju Slumbers. The Kaiju Slumbers are good to, like, wipe away your opponent's board and such, so that way you both can summon Kaijus, and then you still get your normal summon for that turn. And then you can go and XYZ summon and all that, and yeah, all that fun jazz. Because then, that's why you also need the Astral Karibos, because then you can special summon Astral Karibo that way too, and Gizmek Orochis and such. Next, we got 2 Soul Absorptions. The Soul Absorptions are very good. Just one of these alone, I was able to gain, in just one duel, over 40,000 life points. Because of all the monsters my opponent had to banish, and all of the stuff I had to banish. 40,000 life points. Plus, if it's still on the field, I continue gaining life points for every time they banish a card, or I banish a card. So it's really good in this deck, because then you can just, if you're going with the deck out route, your opponent will not be able to get over you with enough life point damage. They're most likely going to deck out before they get close enough. Next, we have 2 Banquet of Millions. The reason for that is so we can just banish away our entire extra deck, so that way they have no extra deck to go off of. The reason for that, it would be good against Yubels. Here's why. You banish away your entire extra deck, they can't do nothing with their entire extra deck, and all they got is Yubels that they can summon. But if you got Nightmare Pain also on the lockdown, or even Dimensional Fissure on the lockdown, to like lock them out from getting back any of their Yubel monsters and such, then they're not going to be able to really summon like Phantom of Yubel per se, or even a lot of the stuff they have in their extra deck. They're only probably going to be able to summon Link monsters, but with this can help make sure that they don't summon anything out. And if you got Nightmare Pain gone by summoning like a monster or like using stuff to destroy the Nightmare Pain, then you can just go attacking into stuff. Either that or even Kaiju their Yubel monster, and if they've only got one on the field, you can easily go destroying it at that point. So yeah. And then 3 DD Dynamites. That is for just in case, because say they still have a few more cards than you do, DD Dynamite will help take care of that. Use DD Dynamite to do over 8,000 points of damage, because if they have at least 25 to 28 cards in their banish pile, that does over 8,000 points of damage. So, yeah. Do DD Dynamite, especially if you use Banquet of Millions, because that's most of the time 15 cards right there. You just need a few more cards and you probably beat them right then and there. And yeah, that's it. Now, onto the extra deck stuff. We do number 97 Dragluvion. This is why you need the Astral Karibo to go into another level 8 to bring out Dragluvion. Because then what Dragluvion does is brings out these 2 guys. This gets attached to number 100 as material. And then number 100 can usually attack for game. But what you got to do is activate his effect during battle phase. Because you can activate it during battle phase. So you go and attack and like clear out the field and such best you can. And then whatever damage is dealt and such, you can then summon number 100 and then do its effect and attack for 9,000 for game usually, or go and attack into the stuff, and then they get to keep their 9,000 attack until your opponent's end phase. And there's always the good part about this card too, where when it is destroyed by a card effect, you can destroy as many monsters on the field as possible from each. Then each player will set one spell or trap from their graveyard to their field. So if you got some stuff in your graveyard, like even DD Dynamite, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, etc., number 100, it gets destroyed. Set something like that. After you destroy all their monsters, when it comes to your turn next, hopefully, you can do Interrupt a Kaiju Slumber, or at least a card, to go and keep on destroying. Next, we have Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy. This is another card that I cited in, especially for Yubel decks. Because with Dark, when you summon it, summon back one of their Yubel monsters, and then you can go into something like Nightmare Unicorn, or even Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. You want to go into one of those, usually. The reason being is because if you do Dark and then target, say, a Yubel monster, if it was link summon using a level 7 or higher monster as material, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And then when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, I can activate one of the effects where I can banish a card on the field, or the card gains 1500 attack, or even the card can make a second attack during the battle phase of my next turn. So that, you can like start stacking the attack on that too. Because it doesn't say that this effect only goes on until the end of your turn or anything. So yeah. And then the Nightmare Unicorn and Nightmare Phoenix stuff. Nightmare Phoenix is used to like pop a spell or trap, and Nightmare Unicorn is to just target one card on the field and shuffle it into the deck. And if you somehow get like both of these out and they're like co-linked and such, somehow, I don't really know how, like, I'm guessing by Nightmare Unicorn being like that and such, you can draw one card. And I think you would then draw 2 cards for both of these. So yeah. But it would mainly be just one card. And then we got IP Masquerena. I haven't used it too much, to be fairly honest, because the Banish deck doesn't do a whole lot of link summoning, in all fairness. The only link summoning that is mainly used is just for those 2, and sometimes that one just to get rid of spell or traps. This one is very scarce, though, because it's not used a whole lot. It's usually getting negated a lot of times. And then we got Relinquish Anima. This one is definitely used a lot due to basically going and like doing one of the level 1 battle stoppers, like for instance Battle Fader and such. Link him out, bring out Relinquish Anima, and then Anima effect to take control. Or even special summoning Eater of Millions, Relinquish Anima. Because I believe you can do that. And Eater of Millions doesn't say about link monsters. Let's see here. Yeah, it cannot be used for a Fusion, Synchro, or XYZ summon. So it can still be used to summon Anima, basically. And then just random cards for the extra deck, just for fodder for like Pot of Prosperity, or even Eater of Millions, etc. And then we go on to the side deck. We have at least 3 DD Crows, 3 Effect Veilers, in case we need a monster stopper, or even doing DD Crow to like go banishing stuff, because there's a lot of target and a lot of targeting to some from the graveyard. Kind of like with bestial monsters. Use DD Crow to instead do that. Evenly matched. 2 Droll and Lockbirds. 2 Prohibitions. Prohibition I have had to use, and I was mad that I couldn't remember the name Nightmare Pain, and instead went with Yubel. And then 2 Nibiru's. So yeah. Anywho, that is the deck list and profile for the Banish deck that I use. That went 3-1 in a locals. And yeah, I hope you guys like the video. Thank you so much for watching. We're definitely getting close to the end of the month where we're going to be opening quite a few stuff, like as you can see here. Got this thing all full, got a whole box of Infinite Forbidden to open, and even one of these. Who knows if the second one will come in before the end of the month when I will be doing this, but that is what we've got so far, and I'm gonna hopefully be getting another box of something, I don't know what, on Saturday. I don't know what exactly this card shop will have, but I hope they will have what I am needing. Anywho, full credit of who showed me this deck in the first place is Marcus from Pokebros. So yeah, thank you, Marcus, for showing me this deck and letting me build it too, and giving me tips and advice for it as well. And to even other people in the community that have given me ideas to make it more consistent as well too. And I hope everybody is having a great day. I'll see you next time, everyone. Bye!
It goes on and on and on.